So earlier I did mention that I had kind of a semi-eventful morning. I got a crazy text message. Um, well, I'll just read it to you. It's from B1, and she texts me, and I get it first. First, it comes in. I'm okay. I'm like, what? So immediately you're like, what happened? You're worried that something is going on. And then the next is, but I passed out at work. And I replied back, I was like, good morning. What? From what? And she said, we were docking puppy tails and removing their dew claws, and it made me so woozy and I just dropped. And I said, holy it. And she said, and this blew my mind, they are awake for it, and it just made me so uncomfortable. So, thankfully, when she passed out, there was somebody there at her work that was able to kind of um, help her not fall, and like they just kind of caught her basically and helped her go to the ground. That way, she didn't bang her head on anything or anything like that. So that's good news. That was a little crazy to get a text message this morning saying that she passed out. So I'm glad to hear that she's okay and she didn't crack her head open or anything like that. But the thing that like kind of blew my mind was that they dock puppy tails and cut dew claws off without putting these dogs out. And if you don't know what docking a tail is, that's like if you for a French bulldog, for example, they have a long tail, but the they do what is it, the breeding industry or whatever, they want these to be designer dogs that look a certain way. They actually will cut the tails off to be shorter. That's what docking a tail is. um, and first off, I didn't really even think her office did that. I didn't think they did decline, but maybe they do, and maybe B1 just isn't in the office for it or whatever, or doesn't do those appointments, which surprised me that you would be in these appointments, that they do this to these dogs while they're awake. I don't know if they give them some sort of local. I didn't really ask because the visual of it was just awful, because I felt so bad for her. She was telling me how she's got to physically hold these dogs while they're snipping off their tail. And then, like, you know, that little extra claw that a dog will have, it's called a dew claw, that little extra thing they have down there. They cut that thing off, like just snip, like right it off. And I imagine they just cauterize it shut, and it stops the bleeding. And oh, sorry, I'm spitting everywhere. And yeah, I was just blown away to know that they were doing that like that in vet offices. And it's funny, I see Christina's. She sent a message in the chat. She said, "I grew up on a farm, and we used to cut the balls out of baby pigs while they were awake. I never passed out." And that's the thing. I know she did witness that. She did when she was in vet tech school. B1. They had to go to a farm for a while, and when they'd go to these farms, she watched them like just cut balls right off of bulls and lambs and stuff. You know, just while they're awake, and just, you know, because they're not even cauterized. I think they just got some sort of clamp on them that just keeps it shut. So yeah, I don't know if it was just maybe because she was seeing it doing it to these little dogs, or because they're whining and screaming while she's holding it, or it's wiggling, but she said all of it was just too much and she couldn't handle it, and she bit it. So uh, I was kind of surprised, again, that they do this like this. I gotta be honest with you. I wish they would just I think they should get rid of declawing and get rid of docking tails and all that stuff and cutting off ears. I hate all that shit. I don't understand why vet offices, who I understand they need to make money, and it's kind of like cosmetic surgery for an animal, but human beings make the decision. It's an elective decision to get the cosmetic surgery. Um, these animals they're not electing to do this. They're being forced to do it by the owners. So I'm not sure how I really feel about vet offices doing that. It almost makes me feel like if you want to do that kind of stuff, you should be a specialty vet office that just does declawing, ears, dew claws, and then the tail docking, all of it. It's just so disgusting to me. And it's these poor animals. And I don't think it's for their health. I mean, I used to be against dogs getting neutered because I thought it was, it's taking their manhood away. But then I learned from B1 that most animals, if you don't get them spayed or neutered, they end up getting cancer. They have a way higher risk of cancer, especially bigger dogs. So I guess I'm kind of all for that now. It makes sense. And it helps control the pet population, right, Bob and Drew? I was kind of against that for a while, the longest time. But now I understand the purpose of it. It actually is a health benefit to them. But this other shit, cutting up these animals like this, I can't handle it. So, and Carrie's in there saying, I could never, this conversation is grossing me out. This is from the girl who picked up a dead deer legs off the side of the road and put them on her boyfriend's front porch as an act of revenge. Now, which I did find pretty funny because I did see an article earlier today where there was a viral post where a girl broke up with a guy, and the post went viral because when they broke up, she sent him a picture of a box of, like, a roll of trash bags. And it said, you could try one on. If it doesn't fit, you could get a bigger one. Meaning, like, he's a piece of trash or he's garbage. And I thought to myself, I laughed out loud and I went, that went viral? Man, I should have done a better job posting what Carrie did to try to get that to go viral, because to me that's a lot more interesting and a lot better revenge, or it's certainly a lot crazier revenge, what Carrie did, than this stupid garbage bag thing. It's just like, how many people have broken up with somebody and said, you're garbage? Like, almost everybody. And it's funny, it reminded me of a story that my mom told me when I was younger about a guy getting revenge on an ex. This guy is absolutely insane. It was when I worked at a gyro shop. This guy was one of the, I was like probably, I think I was 18 or 19. I was living with my parents. I was partying all the time. I got this job at a gyro shop where it was like through a family friend. So I actually got to be the manager. So they gave me keys to this place. So I was able to open and close it. So I literally would get to this place. I would open the door. I'd walk in, turn around, relock the door, never turn on any of the lights or anything, walk right in the back, clock in, and start sleeping right on top of the freezer that was in the back. Literally lay on top of the freezer because I was horribly hungover or had not gone to sleep the night before because I was partying all night. And then I would sleep the first 2 hours until right before the lunch rush, and then I would open up the restaurant and frantically start doing all of the stuff that needed to be done, all the prep and getting gyros turned on and heated up and all that stuff. Well, there was an assistant manager that worked at this place from time to time, and he would like work when I wasn't working. And one day they asked me to go in on one of my shifts when I wasn't supposed to, because this dude got fired. And my mom my mom also like did part-time work there too, because it was, again, through a family friend, through one of her friends, through the family. And so she was telling me that she was so glad the guy got fired because he was such a weirdo. And I said, why is he such a weirdo? I always thought he was kind of a normal dude, whatever. He was kind of a dick to work with, but he was a normal guy. Well, it turns out that when this dude, his girlfriend broke up with him, after they broke up, this guy broke back into her house and took all of her clothes out of her closet and threw them on her bed and took a leak all over her clothes, just whizzed all over them. So I was thinking, boy, talk about crazy ways to get revenge on an ex. 844-HIT-DUM, 844-448-3862. If you can top that revenge story, let me know, because I think those are the two craziest ones I've heard so far. Christina said she loves hearing people's revenge stories. I would love to hear. I bet you Christina's probably got some good revenge stories herself. So Oh, look at that! Just as I get phones working, it looks like Sean, call back. The phones are working. I literally went to press the button. There he is. All right, cool. Hi, Sean. You're on another dumb show. What's going on, dude?
Hey, I was not calling about the revenge stories. I don't know if I can top that, but you're talking about how you're against like dogs being docked and stuff like that.
Dogs? Yeah,
My girlfriend's brother has a cane corso, which is like a really large dog,
yeah. I know
and
what those are.
I
I've
was
seen.
asking her.
Those are cool dogs.
Yeah, he's a mean looking dog, but he's actually really nice, actually. But I was asking her about like why he's docked. He's got like docked tail and docked ears and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And she was telling me because of the size of the dog, if they let the tails just grow out, it causes like spine problems because of the tail being so heavy.
Oh, really? I didn't. So no,
Yeah,
that's.
I guess for bigger dogs, it's a necessary thing, from what
I
she was
thought
saying.
I thought people just did it because they didn't. Because I knew a Great Dane when I was a kid that didn't have, and usually that's one of the dogs that'll get their tail docked. This dog didn't, and that dog
Right.
would clear a table off in a second. Because I mean, this thing was like 2 feet long, so it would swing all over the place and would whack you in the back of the leg. I mean, it was like a little weapon this dog had without even intentionally, trying to make it a weapon. It just was whipping around and hitting everything. So I thought people did it maybe just for the aesthetic of, it looks better. Their dog's not whacking into stuff, but that does make a little bit more sense with that it could potentially cause spine problems. I guess I never really thought about that.
Yeah, I guess it probably is more of like a trend for the most part, but I do know that it does seem necessary for like bigger dogs and stuff like that, from what I
What
was
was
told.
what was the excuse for the ears?
So it was a rescue dog, and she told me that the ears were already docked when she got it, and that
Okay.
she would have chose not to ever do that to a dog because it's not necessary. But I don't know as far as dogs, but I do know for cats, there are some vets out there when the cat gets sick, they clip one of the ears to let everybody know that it's been fixed or something. I don't know why they do that,
They do
but I've
that.
heard of that being a
So
thing for cats.
that is a thing for stray to like, because a lot of times people like if they just bring in stray cats to get neutered just so, and then they re-release them or whatever. It's a whole thing just to kind of reduce the pet population. It's one way to, if the ear's already nipped when they bring it in, they don't have to go through the whole process of examinations, especially like for female cats and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that
So,
makes sense. I don't know why they would do it on a dog. But
yeah,
she told me his ears were already docked when they got it.
yeah, I think they just do it for the aesthetic of it because they think it, that pointy ear looks, especially on like a dog like a Cane Corso or something, or a Doberman, they just look a little bit more badass.
All right.
So,
I guess
uh,
so. I'm
yeah,
not sure if I agree with that one either, but
no, I'm not saying I agree with it at all. I hate it. In fact, I think that's why I'm not cool with it. I think that's why there should be vets that do regular vet stuff, like actual stuff that when the animal's got bloat or whatever the fuck we get, or some cyst or something, they go to it. But then, and Sean, thanks for calling up, dude. And again, 844 hit dumb 844-448-3862. Hey, nothing makes me happier than when you guys call into the phones. But yeah, no, we should have like a plastic surgeon vets and then actual vets.